Imagine your business not just surviving, but thriving. Your wealth locked in, your opportunities exploding, and your family's future built on a legacy that never fades. I'm Leah Garcia, a financial strategist and insurance professional. I help entrepreneurs and high-growth enterprises protect, distribute, and transfer their wealth through my proven system, the Wall of Wealth. I unite your experts into one cohesive strategy, because the most expensive line on your balance sheet isn't debt or taxes, it's conflicting advice. Ready to align every dollar with your mission and turn today's success into tomorrow's divine promise. Wealth today, Dynasty tomorrow.
Happy Wealthy Wednesday, champions. Come on in, come on in. I hope you've got something warm to drink and you've got your bunny slippers. Listen, we're going to have a great time here today. It's a great day in the neighborhood. It's raining here, which is so unusual. We don't know what to do when it rains because it doesn't rain here very often. So I had a little extra time on my hair, but I know today's going to be a great day. Listen, I want to take a moment and just really kind of unpack like what this show is all about. You know, I started this, I actually wanted it to be an audio event. I had no interest in being on camera. Maybe some of you can relate to that. And my good friend Chesda, she really encouraged me to do it as a video. And I was so reluctant. And, you know, like any good friend should do, she pushed me into the deep end. And I'm so glad that she did. I'm so grateful because now I have this catalog of almost 2 years. I think it might have been over 2 years by now that I've been doing these shows. And why I'm sharing all that is because we have to be willing to get outside of our comfort zone. Everything we want is on the other side of being comfortable. Maybe some of you can relate. And why I'm sharing this is because I saw a post by my good friend, Chasen. He was doing a video. He did a video and he was about to step into an event. And it was something that was completely outside of his comfort zone. You know, you could tell he was really nervous. But I was so overjoyed and proud of him because that's what it's about. It's about doing things that make us uncomfortable. This show is about me getting outside of my comfort zone. I started doing this on LinkedIn. Here, I'm going to say this. I've said it a couple times, but maybe some of you don't know this. The reason I started to do this show on LinkedIn is because I assumed nobody I knew was on LinkedIn. None of my friends would ever see it. Probably no one would ever watch it. And so that's what gave me the courage to actually do this, right? Hey, Jackie, great to see you, my love. And now it's kind of funny because my friends do see this show. And my niece was just asking me, hey, Leah, what is this show that you're talking about? I hear some things about you having a show. And so now it's kind of getting a cat out of the bag and people are kind of seeing it. But sometimes we just need that 3 seconds, that 5 seconds of courage. If you have that little bit of courage, you don't need to have it for an hour. You don't need to even have courage for a day or a year. Sometimes it's just that few seconds of courage. And you will be dazzled and amazed to find what treasures you unwrap. I'm so excited for Chasen because I know through him doing that experience. And Chasen, by the way, I'd love to have you on here because for doing that experience, right, and he's taking us along with them, then watch how much more empowered that he is. And by the way, he's a powerful powerhouse here on LinkedIn. If you don't know him, you're going to know him. He's doing incredible things. I love his crusade. I love his mission. I love what he does. But being willing to be vulnerable, listen, none of us know everything. None of us know everything about everything. There's going to be something that is in my wheelhouse. So when you want to talk about money, hey, I can do that all day long and twice on Sunday. Bop me over the head in the middle of the night and we can talk about the 6 rules of retirement. Right. But if you talk to me about something else, that's just not my wheelhouse. And I love the idea of us getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. How many of you can relate to that? Or maybe you're just like, you know what, Leah, I don't relate. I am totally comfortable doing anything in any walk of life and all those things. Maybe you're one of those anonymous. I don't know. But for me, I enjoy the the process of being uncomfortable. And today's guest speaker is really a great example of that. I talk a lot about no pitch coffee chats. I love no pitch coffee chats. I have dubbed myself the queen of no pitch coffee chats. And I will reach out to people on LinkedIn and ask for a coffee chat. If I like their profile, if I see something they're doing, it looks intriguing, it looks interesting. But I also reach out to people on other platforms. And I love to bring people from other platforms to showcase them on LinkedIn because I just believe this is an incredible platform. All those other platforms are wonderful, but I really believe the foundation is having a strong presence on LinkedIn. So I reached out to her and she probably thought it was a little strange, like, hey, let's have a coffee chat. I like what you're doing. I see what you're about. I love your sparkle. I'd like to know more about you. And so we had an incredible coffee chat and she's here to be a guest speaker today. This is her first opportunity to share what she does. But you know what? That's what it's about. So many times we talk about lifting other people up, right? Showcasing and highlighting, supporting others. But how many times do we really do that? I am so honored that she took the time out of her busy schedule to be with us here today. And I know she's going to get a lot of love. I know you're going to love her story. And so I'm not going to steal her thunder, but she is actually going to talk to us about having strategic, secondary, alternative, extra income. We all need extra income in our life. If we haven't noticed, things are costly. If you're saying to yourself, wow, you know what, that's too expensive. It's not too expensive. We just don't make enough money. It's all relative. And so I just believe in this day and age, everyone needs scalable extra income. We all need to develop some type of not just extra income, but I believe I call it MPI, massive passive income. When you develop an income stream, that means that you can walk away from your business and that money still comes in flowing to you. We're all working hard, but we can't work hard forever. So developing that massive passive income stream will do all of us service in the long term and give us more ability to move and flow the way that we want to be able to. So without further ado, please give it up for my incredible guest speaker. She is a nurse and she's also helping other nurses build revenue streams for burned out nurses, or I would say just for anyone. Please give it up for Miss Amber Villarreal. Thank you so much, my dear. Welcome to Wealthy Wednesday. How you doing on this beautiful day?
Good, good. Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you to all that's on, and happy Wednesday.
Awesome. If you could, my love, move your camera just down a little bit because we can't see your entire beautiful face.
Oh, okay.
A little more.
A little more.
There you a little more if you can, or maybe lift it up a little bit. I want to make sure we get your full essence of who you are.
Yes.
It's still like it's a little bit higher. Do you have like a book or something you can prop up there?
Let me see.
Yeah, just take a second. And I'm going to welcome a few people who've joined us. We have the great Miss Jackie Hallberg. Oh my goodness, Jackie. I just adore you so much. Yeah, go ahead and take a second. Maybe just pull the top down like this. See how it's coming down?
Yeah.
Just the top of your, there you go. That's better. Thank you.
Go.
So Jackie is our host of many things, but she also hosts not just her Just Jacks, but she also hosts Wishful Wednesdays. I love that. I think that we all need to talk about our wishes. We need to have good wishes for other people. We need to share what we're doing. She did this as an audio room on LinkedIn, and I used to just love to listen in. I didn't always pipe in, but I would just love to listen to everybody's thoughts and good wishes for everybody. It's just a beautiful, joyous thing to do. How many times do we hear people talking about positive things? So often we get these negative Nancy's and all these things we get bombarded. I don't watch the news because I just can't even tolerate that, right? But I just love that she's bringing us to the joy and back to being wishful and thinking positive things. Thank you so much, Jackie, for all you do. I appreciate you so much. I honor you. And then we have one of our amazing, Christy Williams. She's actually our She says here, customer service professional, and she is totally professional. However, she's actually our LinkedIn cheerleader. She is everywhere, cheering other people on, giving them their flowers, showing them love. I love that. Thank you so much, Christy. I love it when I see you here. I know you've got a full schedule, but I appreciate it whenever you can take the time to come on in, because what happens is as other people join your streams, just so you know, it opens up to their audience. So it's not just about Christy coming on, although we love and adore you, Christy. Other people who follow her will now see that this event is going on. And that's the beauty of that collaboration. And then we have the one and only Miss Nick Angay Galindo. She is the brilliance behind guiding brilliant writers. And if you are looking to publish a book, even if you're not looking to publish a book, listen, we all have a story. I'm not looking to publish a book. However, suddenly I'm going to have a coffee chat with her, and I don't know, we might be talking about me publishing a book. So I'm not sure how this all works, right? We just need a what? TTP. Talk to people. And if that doesn't work, TTMP, talk to more people. I promise you, talking to people makes the world go around. And with that, Amber, I would love for you to take a moment and just share a little bit about, your nursing. Like, how did you get into nursing?
Yeah, well, thank you. And that's amazing. Network builds growth, and the more we expand our network, the more we grow and the more we reach more and more lives. So I love what you're doing. When you reached out, I said, absolutely. What is it? And
tell the truth, Amber. Did you think I was a scammer at first?
No, I didn't think you were a scammer. But I am used to, talking maybe one-on-one, a group of nurses, Zooms and master classes. So when you said, you want to be on my podcast, that was the pause. But, went to your page and doing amazing things. And I said, you will help me expand and grow and be able to reach, others. We know how busy women are, purpose-driven women, nurses, healthcare professionals, those that aren't nurses and in healthcare, but they know someone in the healthcare field and, in the medical field. So, yes, so I am a nurse. I've been a nurse for 20 years, a wife, a mom, homeschool mom. I'm married to a nurse. I'm a certified life and health coach, and what I say, a plan B coach. My grandmother, how I got started really is watching my grandmother. My maternal grandmother has been a nurse for going on almost 50 years. She did labor and delivery, and in our small town, delivered a lot of my my friends. And so just being able to go up, sometimes, watching me after school and just being in that environment, and being able to speak to nurses and doctors and respiratory therapists and seeing the great work they did. And so that's how I got started, volunteering at local hospitals, and then deciding to go, to college for nursing. I've spent most of the beginning of my nursing career in the hospital at bedside. And then had my first son, and my husband is a cardiac nurse. He works with cardiologists and special procedures, and he's on call. So I made the choice to kind of transition out to public health and case management, so that, I wouldn't have to be in the hospital with the 12-hour shifts, both of us. And so just did that for about 10 years. And then as they begin to grow, just having that, that tuggle, right? That mental tuggle of being a mom and a nurse and having that drive and ambition and goal of myself, but also, being a mom and having to be there for the kiddos and everything they do. And so it is not new, right? It is not new. This isn't a new thing, but it's just a nuance and a thing that I think is kind of just expected, right? It's just like that burnout and that juggle of, mom and professional and parent, and It is something where, our grandparents and our parents did it, but we're living in different economical reality. And I think that is the nuance now, a little difference. My parents themselves were entrepreneurs. So I grew up watching them build a business from the ground up and helping on weekends. My mother was in childcare, and they opened up a center and a childcare center and a learning center. And so my sisters and I were able to see, the hard work. And so I knew entrepreneurship is hard work, but rewarding. But I think sometimes when we go into corporate America, or we go into a specific profession, and we get our education, we tend to stay on that path and on that track. And it's kind of hard once you set your life for that to kind of deviate. And what you were saying earlier about, we have to be uncomfortable. Growing pains, or what, they're hurt and they're uncomfortable. But as I speak to nurses and healthcare professionals and others, it's like a lot of times when people say we don't have time, and for myself, I analyze that well before I, went into coaching an affiliate and plan B and entrepreneurial and income, additional income streams myself. It's like, what is 24 hours in a day, right? We have the time, but a lot of it is that we're trading that time for money. And that's the feeling that we have of not, having that time, and I teach and mentor nurses and moms that if we take that pocket of time, to grow a scalable business, a plan B, entrepreneurship without a second boss, right? Without having that, literally it takes 1 to 2 hours, right? I mean, we are on our phones scrolling, scrolling Instagram and Facebook, and we just have to be mindful. But we can build a scalable business that isn't tied to clocking in or clocking out or burnout. And that is something that, that's my journey. And now, wanting to share that with nurses, that's, the pain points that I know, but, nurses, healthcare professional, purpose-driven women, and others, families, we can create the life we want. It just has to be, strategic. It's not, we're not inventing the wheel, right? I mean, entrepreneurship and things that are out there are there. The blueprint for some of these things are there. And so it's not us going and, getting this big loan and setting up a brick and mortar and opening up this shop. It's that plan B. It's that additional income that allows you to have those pockets of time and it to grow with you. And so that, I think, is the sauce, right? Being able to do that. And that plan A, right? We're not saying quit your job. We're not saying quit your job today. That plan A feeds our family. That plan A is something that provides, income for us. But education is great, but it is not leveraged. We can, it is something where we need leveraged income. And so I tell those, it's like your plan A is great, but you can build a plan B and C, and then, scale back from that plan A as your plan B begin to grow.
Yeah, so many golden nuggets there. So many things I want to highlight. I love when you're saying, listen, we have a challenge here. We know that we're going to grow through a challenge, but here's the deal. None of us want to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like we want to grow, but we want it to be comfortable. We want to get better, but we want it to be easy. We want to be in those sexy jeans, but we don't want to have to go to the gym. It's going to be painful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else to say it. And when I see people who are having challenges, which we all are in some form or fashion, but when I see people who are really struggling and striving to get to that next level, and they're having these challenges come through, that's the time when our character's built. That is the time when the growth happens. That's the time when the treasure will be exposed within you. And I understand it's difficult, but if we can embrace that and have something that we say to ourselves and to talk us through it and pray, meditate, whatever you do to have that foundation in you, you're going to look back and go, wow, that's really where the growth happened. That worst time of my life, that's really where I learned these lessons. This is really where the gems came through. So that was really, really gold. And I'd like you to, because I was a stay-at-home mom. I was very, very blessed that I was able to not have to go to a job every day, although I had 4 kids. So believe me, I was working every day. Okay. And
I was about to correct you.
they were all doing activities and I did all the fundraising and all of that kind of stuff. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I was a stay-at-home mom who was never home. That was the joke. I was never home. This was back before in the dinosaur days. We didn't have cell phones. Okay. If you didn't have a phone at home, I mean, you didn't have one in your car. Okay. You just didn't. So my question to you is, I'd like you to take a moment and just share with us, what is it like to have a full-time career? Because nursing is no joke. You alluded to it, 12-hour days, double shifts, what is it like to have that and still raising a family?
It's systems, it's automation, but I have 3 kiddos, and what you alluded to is like that growth, right? We sometimes are so scared of that entrepreneurial journey. And it's like entrepreneurship. What I learned is that the entrepreneurship part isn't scary. It's building and stretching and growing to be an entrepreneur. And so it is so much of us being inward and focusing on things. It's like we have, first of all, as mothers, right? As women, our superpower is that. And so we just have to believe, I mean, as far as, nursing, and anyone that has done a certification, an education, raised another human, went to college, it's like, go back to that time. Go back to that time. We had so much on our plate. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. And what I discovered is that you just have to have some core principles of scalable and fundamentals to be able, it's organization. I know they have this big word of time management, and I say it too, but we only get 24 hours, right? And so it's not really managing the time, God gives, that's the time, but it's being able to start. It's being able to then have that clarity and that duplication. It is that duplication. And so I just have pockets of time. I'm a wife. I am a homeschool mom. I'm a nurse. And starting this, and it's honestly, in some ways, I'm finding more time. At the beginning, it was like, well, I did have that time. What was I doing? Before I was jumping on a Zoom call, 3 Zoom calls, calendars, I mean, being able to systematically put something and do, our time and carving out one thing, but that I never did before, I started my own entrepreneurial journey, was carve out time in the morning for myself. That's something that I've given myself now to start the morning, before the kiddos wake up. And before, I didn't do that. Right. That's something that I didn't do. And so you just, it's building scalable income. And it's not theory, it's not hype, it's just systems. And when you begin to align that, and it's not going out and doing something that you don't believe in, it's doing something that is aligned for me with my faith, with my family, health and wellness. I love to travel. What future do you want? Something, and I tell, those that reach out to me, what is it, something that could build with your life, not against it, not against it. And so that's a big thing too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I love when you talk about systems. I started doing something recently, and I started writing down everything that I do in a day, like work wise. If I put everything on there, forget it. But, and I do like 15 things a day, from having appointments to taking phone calls to, all of that. So I was like, wow, yeah, I do have a pretty full schedule, but it's the systems that you have in place, right? That really, which is what really drives that. And the other thing I want to highlight, Amber, is that I believe everyone should have a secondary income stream, not for the money, but for the person you have to become in order to be successful in that industry. And I don't even mean monetary success. Through osmosis, you're going to attract more wealth. But really what happens is it's a person that you become. It's a person that you become within yourself, for yourself, the person you become for your family, for your friends, for your community, for your congregation. Like, it is that self-development that we don't always get if we stay in that same career path or that same job. Any job can become monotonous, even if you're doing different things every day. So having an additional income stream gives you that opportunity to grow yourself in a totally different area and to really exercise that muscle. You have a couple of great comments here. I want to highlight them. One of them here is by Christina Sargato. Great to see you, Miss Christina. She says, great topic. Scalable income streams are built when you stop trading every hour for money and start turning your expertise into assets that can scale, or sell without you in the room. There you go. I love it, Christina. Absolutely. That's a mic drop. I love it, love it, love it. And you do have a question here. There is a question by Sharon Byrne. Let's see. She has the question. I'm going to pull that back up here. Maybe I missed it. It's up here. She asked, what is, Sharon, if you wouldn't mind sharing that question again. I did see her question, but now I've kind of lost it here a second. While she's doing that.
Yeah, no, I wanted to touch on, when you were saying about, not even just the economical, but just the stretching and the learning and, our memory, our cognitive exercising of learning, different things and interfacing with other people and other disciplines and other careers. And myself, reaching out, I have, when I first started, being mentored and reaching out to others, not in my field, but are doing that entrepreneurial, journey, that coaching, and being able to be stretched by them. And it's like, we have to build options. It's, we know, the income will come, but the options for ourselves opens up, a whole can of worms of things, of, what I say of, changing zip codes, having your family in a different area, eating better, being able to expose yourself and your family and your children to different things, different cultures, all of that, when you have not only options, but income additionally from, that plan A, it opens up so much.
Absolutely. And I could speak to changing zip codes. I grew up on the east side of San Jose, surrounded by poverty, gangs, drugs, and all of that. And there's a difference living in a different zip code. I would go to my auntie's house, and she lived in a beautiful neighborhood where the grass was green, the cars were shiny, the houses were pretty and decorated. And I always wondered, how could I have, how did they have that stuff and we don't? So changing those zip codes, and you kind of touched on something. I don't know if you did, if we've talked about this, but I believe in the 5 Fs. Actually, it's the 7 Fs, right? It used to be the 5, now it's the 7 Fs. When we change our zip code, when we upgrade our wealth, we can have better in all areas in our faith, right? We can be more faithful because we can give more back to whatever our faith is, our faith, our family. We can do more fun things. Our faith, our family, our finances get better. Our fitness gets better because we can have healthier food. It is costly to buy organic stuff, right? And we can have more fun and also philanthropic, because I believe that givers gain. And as I give out of abundance, I'm going to receive out of abundance. And food, I go back to food. 7F is food, because I'm a foodie. And I just believe in order to have good quality, healthy food, they're not selling it at the 99-cent store. I mean, let's be real, okay? You don't buy food there if you want high quality food. You go there for some other little things and little trinkets and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if Sharon found her question, but you've got some great comments here, and I'm going to try to read this one. Amber, I apologize in advance because this one is going to cover your face, I believe, but I want to bring it up here.
Oh, that's fine.
Cover both of our faces. Okay, that's okay. Building scalable income streams while working full-time means carving out just 5 hours a week for high impact actions that compound over time. After prioritizing, I can't even say that, low fit options like digital projects or affiliate links, protect your energy by batch tasking. She's so good about this. You got to talk to Miss Christine if you want to know this. She's going to talk about automation, and she's going to teach you how to turn those side efforts into reliable revenue without burning out and paving the way to your eventual freedom.
I love that.
A great comment or what?
Yeah. I mean, I love that because, I mean, I interface with pretty, highly trained and educated and intelligent professionals every day, but even highly educated professionals that love what they do feel squeezed.
Right.
And, not to get, down the healthcare, but, medical, but, when we are stressed, that also does a lot to our body. Our cortisol levels increase, our, blood pressure. And so a lot of that has to do with the whole body, with the ability to have that stress. It increases so much. And when you are dealing with that day after day after day, it does start feeling a little gloomy, right? It does start feeling where you feel like you cannot turn from anywhere. And so that's what I tell people, when I don't try to say, it's like, I don't have time and I don't, and I say, well, what is a given day? I don't say like, well, I'm a mom, a wife, a homeschool mom, but it's so, because people don't want to hear that, right? It's about them and how they feel like they can carve out that time to be able to do it. And for me, it's my responsibility to be like, okay, let's carve out a day. What does your day look like? And let's find those pockets of time to be able to make you an income that doesn't have to take you away from your kids, or, you work overnight. For nurses and healthcare professionals, everyone knows in a hospital, it's 24/7. So there are shifts that have to cover that every single time. So it is not something where we are even necessarily pressed for a job, right? I can go to the hospital, I can go and pick up a shift and make that overtime and make that differential, right? But I'm still taking away from my family. I'm still, that gas, and I'm still having that time where I'm still trading time for money. So what I tell nurses and healthcare professionals, let's even start there. that extra 2 or 3 shifts that you have to take to be able to bring that money into your home, let's try to have that plan B. Let's set that goal, right? That's the floor. You know, if you're needing that extra 500 or that extra $1,000 a month, and that's why you're picking up those extra shifts, let's bring you home and let's have that plan B, have that income so that you can go see little Johnny play soccer, right? And that's kind of that, you know, they feel like, okay, you know, and so that is kind of just the beginning of it.
Yeah, for sure. And it really also, what I think about is W-2 employees have very little ability for write-offs. And so even though you're working those extra shifts, oftentimes I hear, well, I worked all these extra overtime, but a lot of it went to taxes. So it makes sense to have some kind of a side hustle that's giving you one of the strongest things in the tax code, which is the write-offs and what you can do because you are an entrepreneur, because you do have a side hustle, everything from the office supplies, from having your own home office to vehicle expenses. I mean, there's a myriad of things that you can actually leverage that you're doing already. So I think it makes sense, especially if you're a high income W-2 employee and you are paying a lot of taxes, is to have that income stream. It doesn't mean, in my mind, it doesn't mean that you are going to fire your boss. It may not mean that. Maybe you love your career, you love your vocation, you want to do it forever, it's meaningful to you. But it gives you that, number one, we're going to talk about that personal development. It gives you some great tax write-offs. It gives you an opportunity to say no if you don't want to pull that extra shift because you want to go see little Johnny's soccer game, or just, good grief, you want to go to the beach for the doggone weekend. Right? I mean, it doesn't always have to be about doing other things, but sometimes we have kind of been bamboozled into thinking that to have more income means that you have to work harder to make more money.
Yes, we have to work hard. We have to work smarter, not harder, for a lot of it. And it's just a lot of people, don't know. You don't know what you don't know, and the situation is, when you were talking about write-offs, people, in, my field, corporate America, even I say, you're getting that great bonus. Look at that bonus. They take taxes off right away when you are given the bonus, and then you are still taxed on that bonus at the end. And so, we work hard for those bonuses and those accolades and all of that. But we're getting taxed, right? Like I tell people, it's like, now you are an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, your internet, your office, your phone. If you are using your phone, to call, to schedule appointments. And so that's so true. A lot of people, and what I've learned, and I know, Leah, you can speak, you being the financial strategist, I'm learning that myself as I begin to grow, and thankfully in the income of things that I can do as a tax write-off, but also, not knowing that entrepreneurs, sometimes we're so tied to that job and to that career, because it not only gives us, food and housing, but it also gives us insurance. It also gives us 401k and in medical, it's 403b. But what I am learning as well is that an entrepreneur can create their own 401k. And so that is something new that I'm learning, growing my business. And so we just have to educate ourselves. Sometimes we are staying at a place because we think it's giving us something, but we can create that ourselves.
Mic drop, clip that, gold bar, golden nuggets. So oftentimes I am sitting down with an entrepreneur who fired their boss because they just couldn't take it anymore. And they had a vision, they had a dream they wanted to explore, and they have not done any thinking or any research or any consideration about how they replace those benefits. Folks, those benefits are valuable. They're real. Your health insurance is going to be costly. You got to look at what your options are before you get ready to step away full time from your career. Look at your life insurance. It's been provided to you probably for pennies on the dollar to have it through your company. Look at your retirement plans. Don't just assume you're going to leave your retirement plan there, but take it with you. And by the way, start your own retirement plan, there's many incredible options. I talk about the solo 401k, which I think is the most underutilized option for my high achieving entrepreneurs and business owners. So that was so much wisdom there. You have a great comment by Great Finances. She says, these are needed conversations. The work we do matters. I appreciate that. Tom Cullen, thank you so much. I see you absolutely creating those extra incomes. And this is a great comment. It's going to kind of block both of us, but I want to highlight this. You're so right. It means that we have to pivot, just like what Christina was talking about. You can have a few hours a week. Any one of us has a few hours that we can carve out to invest in ourselves and do something extra. I would love for you to highlight and just kind of expand, like, okay, so you've had this great career and now you're building this extra income stream. How did that evolve?
Through my own journey and trying to figure out what could I do to bring income, to scale back, to be present for my family. And so I just began to, attend, in-person master classes online, begin to read books and, watch TED Talks and ask others, my uncle's friend who, I'd known to be entrepreneur. And I'm like, he's never had a job, but, and just begin to seek that knowledge. Because at first it wasn't entrepreneurship. And then I said, that's it. It's like, I don't want to trade time for money. I know that I want passive and leveraged income to continue. And I know that I want to build a legacy for my children, and to be able to expound on that. And so my own self trying to, figure out what it is and what I'm going to do and what's the best fit. And that's kind of how, once I feel like I settled into that, and team up with, different affiliates and saying, I want to then coach others to do the same. And I felt like I wanted to scream it, and it's like, and some of my nurse friends were the ones like, they knew what I was doing. And I'm like, I'm going to go into this certification program for life and health coaching, because I really want to understand, how to listen, different. It's different the way we listen as far as the coaching versus the nurse, right? Because in nursing and in the healthcare, it's like we are the we are the professional. We are the one that knows, and we try to get our patients to be involved in their care, but some aren't. But in coaching, you are the thought leader. But you are not the authority, right? I mean, that person is the authority of their life, and you are trying to help them in tandem, try to figure out and strategize. And so first I went through a certification program for life and health coaching. And in that time, other nurses and friends were like, if you find it, come and get us, tell us about it. And that's when the wheels started turning. It's like, and there were some naysayers, it's like, you're a nurse, you went through all this schooling and, and it's like, yeah, but, that's okay. That's okay. We have to understand that education doesn't stop us, from doing other things. And research is showing that a large portion of college graduates today are underemployed. They're not even being paid for what they, not only the time and the years, but they're coming out with more and more debt, and they're getting into these roles that they're underpaid and underemployed. And so, all of that, compiling that and writing and studying is what kind of brought me to this point. It's like, I made the time and late nights to be able to figure it out. And then I want to be able to give that person and walk them through that and be like, I have figured it out. Let me help you. Let's team up together and build this together.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got some new friends here, and Great Finances said she would love to know more about your life coaching, Amber. So I love it, love it, love it. Appreciate that you are watching us on YouTube. Great to have the connection. Great Finances. So one thing I would love for you to share, because I think I see this very often, and it can be a huge booby trap. W-2 employees want something that they can scale. They want to develop maybe some extra income, or maybe they're thinking about doing that parlay into something else and stepping back or stepping totally away from their career, their W-2 career. But what I see they do sometimes is not in alignment with really who they are really what they do on their full-time job. And this is what I mean by that. Maybe they're doing something that is very technical, and then they try to have something that doesn't even align with what they're doing, or it's not even in their wheelhouse, right? So you want to have something, if you are, whatever you're doing, that really aligns, not just with your core values, but it makes sense. Otherwise, you're going to be constantly feeling like you're struggling and switching gears, and it's taking you out of your career. Whereas what you're doing, you're in the health and wellness space for your career, but that's also the health and wellness space that you are for your side hustle too. And I think when you have those two that are in alignment, that's really when it can really scale. That's when you can really grow that income, rather than having something that is constantly almost like a totally different gear change. So what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, some people, go to school and they have that passion, or they're good at that, right? That may not even be their passion. They're just good at it, right? God gave them this gift and to understand numbers, or to be able to, understand margins, and they're an architect, but that may not be their passion, right? That plan B can allow that to be a passion, and also, scale income to be able to further that passion. And that is so true, because it's like, it's a saying, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Right. And, some people, my friends, have said, retirement is kind of a conundrum, right? I mean, like, who's really retiring? Retiring, what our grandparents and our great grandparents thought about, is not the word and the definition of retirement now. Pensions themselves are almost, they're obsolete, right? That kind of things. The pensions where, you got this amount and insurance, we don't have that anymore. And so that passion of something, and I say for anyone really in the health and wellness space and transformational life and helping someone, everyone, yes, that your values, whatever you're doing, of course, it should align with your values. It should align with what it feels right to you, correct? But there's also, for me in the health and wellness space, we only have one body, right? God gave us one body and we have to take care of it. And in the health and wellness space, our greatest asset, some people believe when they say, list all your assets, list all your, it's like our greatest asset is our health, right? I mean, you speak to those who, you can have all the money and all, the assets and everything in the world, but if your health is declining, that you cannot enjoy that. And I tell, people all the time, it is so expensive to be sick.
Yes.
It is so expensive to, have these comorbidities and these, diagnoses and diseases. And so I say, get a hold of that. When people say, oh, organic is expensive and this is expensive, vitamins and supplements, I'm like, I'd rather have a choice of taking my vitamins and supplements than someone, a doctor and a nurse, telling me that I have to take this every day at this time. And you then do not have the autonomy to just get off of it. I've educated several of my patients. I'm like, oh, I didn't take that. Well, that then becomes a problem. And so, yes, I and some people find their passion while they're looking for their plan B, or some people, are in a profession and, loved music, but they didn't think that was something that, their parents said, oh, that's not gonna make, that's not a real profession. And so they went on to be a doctor or a nurse, an architect. And now they're coming back and it's like, that's your plan B. You're still passionate. You play 4 instruments, right? I had an individual actually that reached out to me and was saying, and we helped them kind of design a website to advertise. But he played like 4 or 5 instruments and had done it and had, had this band and whatnot. And he was closer to retiring as a physician. And now he teaches students. He gives back, and doing with the homeschool community as a homeschool mom. We love that. My kiddos all play an instrument, and so it's a passion, but sometimes we find our passion or we forget, right? We forget our loves and we forget our passion as we go to this course of trading time for money.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know where this time went, Amber. You brought so much value, so much golden nuggets. I love the conversation. And obviously we're going to continue that connection. I would love, you've got some new fans and friends here. How can people reach you? I know you're not real super active on LinkedIn, but you've got a real hot presence on Instagram. So how do people reach you? How do they find you?
Yes, no, on LinkedIn, definitely Amber Villarreal on LinkedIn. I am getting more and more on that. Reach out to me, Amber V as in Victor, Amber V at emncoaching.com. That can be reached. And then I am on Facebook. But yeah, just DM me, Amber Villarreal, my first name, Villarreal Amber. Is how you can find me on Facebook. But yeah, I am on LinkedIn. Amber Villarreal, Leah and I are connected now. So definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn. Send me a request and a message. And I'd love to talk with, anyone and everyone to be able to collaborate, learn from them. But also, if you're a nurse or in healthcare or you love a nurse and you would want them to link with me, I'd be happy with that as well.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, great. What is it? Great Finances certainly wants to connect with you. Coach Carrie Willis definitely wants to shout herself out. We appreciate that because I love that you did that, Coach Carrie Willis, because my events on Wealthy Wednesday are intended to be interactive. We're entrepreneurs, business owners here. So I'd love for you to shout each other out, connect with each other, and share what you're doing. Somebody's looking for you and what you do. Thank you so much, Amber. It was such an honor. I'm going to backstage, but it's been so great. I appreciate your time. And if you got some value, please let her know. Send her some love. She's getting more active here on LinkedIn, which is really my favorite platform, although I try to be everywhere, right? Nobody can be every single place, but I try to be a lot of different places and spaces. So that was a lot of fun. Like I said, repost this, share this with somebody who is looking for that extra income. Maybe you know a nurse who would like to fire their boss, or they just want to develop another revenue stream, or they're looking to retire and now they want to find something else to do. Please reach out to my good friend Amber. And now comes the time of the show where I like to have story time. And I like to highlight some things that I do with my clients because people always ask me, Leah, what do you do? It seems like you're kind of everywhere. Well, basically what I do is I teach people about money, right? How to make more money, how to reduce what they owe, how to get out of debt, and how to retire. And true retirement is not a boomerang. It means that you are retired. You can do whatever you want, go wherever you want, have whatever you want. And I believe that all of us can do that. And last night I was with some of my longtime dear clients, and now they're looking to retire. And Amber kind of highlighted it. Our health is really everything. And their health is not what it was when I first met them. And what I shared with them, listen, if you're feeling like it's time to retire, then let's get you retired. Because we only have 3 stages in retirement. We got the go-go years, which they're in the go-go years now, right? They've got a great family. They want to take road trips. They do vacations together. They have a lot of family together time. How much more together time could you have if you didn't have to go to that job? Then we have the slow go years. Those are the years where you can't maybe do all the things that you used to do. And you're going to do them maybe once or twice a year, not every single weekend. Because if we don't do it now, guess what happens? We come to those no-go years. And those no-go years are the time when you can't get out of the house. You can't go to those outings that you wanted to. If you're thinking about retiring, but you don't know how, let's figure out a way to get you retired. So now we're going to help them get into that retirement. My goal is to get him retired by May. I don't know. He looked a little shocked. I think it's doable. I believe we can do it. But even if it takes a year or two, at least he knows where he's going for in retirement. The only way to know how to get to where you want to be is to know exactly where you are, which means we have to look at our money, and that can be uncomfortable. And if you're looking for someone to help you, it would be my honor and pleasure to enjoy a coffee chat with you, a no pitch coffee chat, and let's just explore the options. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you so much. I love all of you. I appreciate you every single week. Christina Salgato, great to see you. The great Tom, so much. I appreciate you so much, my friend. We've known each other for quite a time. Yeah, definitely. He's got some great comments in there. We have to learn about where our money's going. We got to protect our money from the risky stock market, right? There's some great options. And also the great Sharon Byrne. She had a lot of great comments. She runs Infinite Returns, but she also is our student debt eraser. So if you've got student debt, you want to figure out how to navigate it. Sharon is a person that I trust with all my clients to help them with their student loan debt programs and options. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you so much. Remember that we're here every single Wednesday, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you're looking for a guest speaking opportunity, reach out to me. I'd love to chat with you. I promise we can have that no pitch coffee chat. And remember, your wealth today could be your dynasty tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. I love you. Thank you so much, Team Replay, as well.
Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Introducing Leah Garcia's Wall of Wealth, the ultimate one-page financial plan to protect, distribute, and transfer your wealth with confidence. Whether you're a business owner or just starting your financial journey, this step-by-step guide gives you the tools to create a solid foundation for long-term success. Don't wait to transform your money mind shift. Download your free copy today at leahgarcia.io and start building your wall of wealth now.